It is day 20. It is day 20 of 21 days of our boot camp. The end line is in sight. Can you see the end, Bob?
I can see the end. Yes,
Not a
indeed.
train running to heading to run us over.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to day 21 of building your online business. I've got a lot of favorites in the boot camp in the different modules that we do, but I love talking about today's topic, mainly because it's cathartic. I think we're going to be talking about today we're going to be talking about things that are holding you back, and this is things that could be holding you back in your business, or also far more interesting to me at this exact moment are things that could be holding you back from deciding to join the Gray Wave, which we opened the doors for yesterday. And thankfully, I have straightened out the issues that we had with the invoice. So thanks to everybody who was so patient. It was complete user error in my inexperience with using the Samcart, which I really like as a tool, by the way. We'll be talking about it at some point in the not too distant future, but it's turning out to be a terrific tool. We get to welcome 6 new members already into the Gray Wave. We're so excited that you're there, and we see them starting to get active already. So welcome one and all. It is thrilling to have you guys in, and it's nice and affirming for me to have quick conversations with a few of you and to find out exactly what you're up to. So things are trending in the right direction. But today, I'm going to challenge you to go with an open mind and an honest assessment of yourselves. We're going to be talking about and these are just really common issues that I think they're exacerbated by our generation, but I think all generations face these things to a certain. Well, I won't say that. Millennials don't seem to have any of this stuff. They just bother me. But but for our generation, for sure, Bob. And Bob, you've been through this content before because we've delivered this in previous boot camps. You like this content today too, don't you?
Oh, I love this today. Yeah, I like the title of it especially. So.
Oh yeah, well, I didn't. It's only the title in the mind map. I didn't actually call it the title in the promo. So nobody's seen what I'm going to call today's presentation. So today, again, we are not going to be pre-recorded. I'm going to be delivering all the content live today. Bob's going to be helping me out as we go along, and we're going to make it a bit of a conversation. But we're going to be talking about the roadblocks, the things that stand in your way, the things that stand in the way of progress. And there's legitimate things that stop us from moving ahead. And then there's things that we fabricate and manufacture ourselves. And I think we all recognize that. We all recognize that sometimes we are our own worst enemies. Maybe not sometimes, maybe almost all the time, we are our own worst enemies. That we make the same mistakes over and over again, or we let the same thing stop us, or we get in that same habit. We get in a rut where we do the same things. And what was it? Who's it that said the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? And Einstein, if we take that into our business, we recognize that and I know there's science behind this. These neural pathways that we establish that cause us to react to the same way to the same stimuli causes us to do the same things over and over again. And it's something that we have to break. It's something that and I think the way we break it is we face it and we give an honest assessment of what's going on. So that's going to be it today. Today's going to be a little bit of navel gazing from the community. Before we jump in, is April in? Is somebody commenting?
No. Keith said that April's the one that said it was doing the same thing over and over again is a sign of insanity.
Oh, okay. April said it. Jeez, fair enough. I hope she's enjoying herself in Italy now and not on board with us right at this exact moment. But what was I going to say? Oh. Just so everybody knows, we are the doors are open for the Gray Wave and everything is working. All of the systems are in place. So the billing system is working properly and accurately. So invoicing system. So if Bob drops the URL there, people can go through the content and decide whether or not this is right for them. I hope for 6 of you already, it is right. And so welcome to them. But I think we should probably just dive in and start talking about today's topic because I'm excited. I'm some kind of excited. I'm going to leave you out. I'm going to leave you live, Bob, because I might force you in to agree with me at some point or comment at some point on some of these things. So today we're going to be talking about the evil twins and the Three Stooges. So the evil twins are the most common idiosyncrasies, the most common personality traits, the most common things that we do to ourselves that stop us from succeeding. And those are, no surprise, I'm going to bury the lead: fear of failure and imposter syndrome. And the Three Stooges are my take on our personality types and how we approach building our businesses. So we'll talk about the Three Stooges in a moment, but we're going to start with talking about fear of failure and imposter syndrome. And fear of failure to me is, I don't know why, I feel like I came late to understanding fear of failure. And I'm a little bit jealous. Here's kind of the backstory of when I really started to incorporate it into our conversations inside of the Gray Wave or inside of our community. Is I was out to dinner with a millennial, and he was talking to me about his kids. And this is a very successful, this is somebody that started a SaaS company. It's a big company, very successful individual, got a lot of respect for him. And he said that he has a conversation with his kids every night, and he asks them what they failed at today and what they learned from it so that they can do better tomorrow. And there's no stigma attached to the kids when they share with him what they failed. They said, today I messed up. I didn't get these answers right in my math, or I got into a fight with Jason on the playground. And they talk about their shortcomings as steps in the journey and as things they learn from, and they move ahead. This is very different than how we were raised, is it not? If we came home and told our parents, oh, Dad, I failed my math test today, the last thing my dad was going to say was, good for you, Steve. What did you learn from it? He wasn't going to say that, was he? I mean, I was raised Catholic. We talked yesterday about the thing. I was raised in Catholic school my whole life. Our Lady of the Bleeding Knuckles was the elementary school I went to. And the lovely nuns used to whack us with across town to another Catholic school where the nuns taught piano, go into the convent where the nuns would teach us. There was a big old upright piano there, and Sister Mary, I don't know, Sister Mary Psychopath, she would sit there, and when we were playing the song on the piano, learning the music, if our fingers didn't have the proper curve in the approach, she had a pointer, and she'd whack us on the knuckles. What better way to engender love of music than to be pounding our hands and breaking our knuckles if we didn't have the proper curve on our hands? Oh my gosh, I can still, obviously I still carry scars from this by my reaction, and I get all verklempt as I go through and I speak about these things. But this was the thing for us growing up, our generation, universally. Failure was the worst thing that you could do. Failure was to be ridiculed. Failure was to be avoided at all costs. And failure was, well, the term. Failure it became to us the abject worst thing that could happen. And it was never looked at as a lesson. It was never looked at as a stepping ground. It was never looked at as something that you went through as a process of learning and moving on. That's changed. The attitude in the world has changed, I think, to a large extent. Certainly the younger generations look at failure very differently than we do. And I believe that it's ingrained in us so deeply, fear of failure, that even if we pay lip service to the fact that it's okay to fail, and we can learn from it, and it can become a proper step, and it can become a springboard for success, we still don't feel that way. Almost universally, inside of this community, I can guarantee you, when we fail, we feel like we've come up really short. We don't give ourselves any grace when it comes to failure. And we will give it to somebody else. We'll give it to members of our team. You didn't do that right? That's okay. You'll learn from it. If I do it wrong, yesterday, I screwed up on the invoice form. Now, there's a part of me that wants to go, oh man, I screwed up. That was so bad. But hopefully I am a recovering fear of failure addict. And I'm Steve. I can proudly say that I failed yesterday, and I'm okay with failing yesterday. This is our 7-step program that we're going to be going through here right now. But getting to the point where you're okay with it for yourself is a major hurdle for us to all to overcome. And that fear of failure paralyzes us. It stops us from taking chances. It stops us from doing things, because somewhere deep ingrained in us is still this belief that the worst thing that could happen is for us to fail. And I think I know that if we can get past that it opens the door for success, especially when we're talking about building your online business. Taking a chance, learning from your mistakes, standing up to your mistakes, and moving on. Those are the things that will ultimately lead to success. Failure is not bad like it used to be thought of as bad, but success is still good. Success is still really, in winning, that's still really a good thing. That's still something we want, but we don't need to have an antithesis to it. We don't need to have its mirror image in how we deal with failure. So I'm going to ask you to just give yourself, just take it under advisement. This is a process that it's going to take you time to go over, but start to look at how you fail and start to look at how your attitude towards failure, and start to ask yourself if it's healthy and if you give yourself the same grace as you give others. And also ask yourself this question. Think about all the times you failed in the past. We're all still here. Has one of those failures been fatal? Not yet. Not for any of us. We've learned from it. It's in many cases, the failures, if you look at it, are the genesis for our best successes, for our best moments, because of what we learned and when we re-enter the fray. So I'm kind of a motivational speaker today when I'm talking about fear of failure, because we have to learn, if we can, I shouldn't say we have to, if we can embrace failing forward as a philosophy with all of the failure that we've done in the past, it makes us an absolute machine moving ahead in the future. Nobody's failed more than us. Our generation, we failed more than any because we've been around longest. We've had the most opportunity to fail. And if we could look at each failure as a new skill that we've developed, if we can take the lesson from each failure and go along, we are failure heroes. We are machines who have failed a lot, and now we can take that and we can move ahead. It doesn't mean we won't fail a little bit in the future or a lot in the future. But we also recognize that we can get past it, and we will get past it. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. As far as fail, I have several other soapboxes to stand on before we are done today with our session. But as far as fear of failure, make me a promise that you will. I know that you can't change, but you'll start to think about it. You can't change instantly. Change will be gradual, but try and give yourself the same grace as you give others. Did anybody here really think Steve's a moron yesterday when I had trouble with the shopping cart? Did you? No. I hope not. But old Steve, and many of you, if you'd been in the same situation, would beat yourself up over it. And it might stop you from doing something similar in the future. Failure is not a bad thing. Accepting failure, we don't have to accept it. We can learn from it. It's not the same as saying it's okay or that we embrace it. I guess we do embrace it, but it is something that is part of the process. Okay. Steve promised to get off the soapbox. Okay. No, stay on your soapbox. Before I go on to the next thing, is there anything that I missed there, Bob, that I should be talking about? Because I know you failed a lot too.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur most of my life, and you always fail. I mean, you have successes, you have failures. It's, and you learn. Hopefully, you learn from other people's mistakes. Yeah.
So let me ask you: are you harder on yourself? Are you hard on others when they fail?
No, I'm much harder on myself. Are you kidding? Yeah.
You think you can get past it?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you know me well enough. I mean, even recent stuff. You think about things, and it's like, geez, I could have done that better. I should have done this. I should have. People. We all have that in our DNA, I think so.
Yeah. But I don't expect that any of us are going to turn over a new leaf overnight. But if we talk about it, and if we think about, it will at least on some of the marginal things, we'll start to gain a little bit more acceptance. And it's a process. We've spent 60 years or more, or a few less. We spent a long time with this relationship with failure. Don't expect it to change overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. And the younger generations, I will say that they, the one thing about them is they don't feel that the way we did at all. Yeah.
That's where this whole thing started for me. It was talking to a younger parent. He's got a 7-year-old, 8-year-old kid. He's a kid, and just like, I don't like it when they do things better than us.
Howard, by the way, I was going to say, Howard, by the way, said Sister Mary Psycho methods worked. Look at how successful you, Steve, have become in helping out your community. So
true. But yes, thank you for that. Oh, and this is you've encapsulated in a nutshell. I think part of the message of the failure is the failures that, and it's not necessarily Sister Mary Psycho's methods. It's the fact that the failures that I've gone through in the past haven't deterred me, haven't stopped me from any of us from succeeding. But we've gone through a terrible time as we've judged ourselves on them, and perhaps they've held me back. Perhaps I could have been even more if I hadn't had a fear of failure. But the bottom line is, yeah, it's obvious that failure hasn't stopped any of us because we've all got a lot in our past. All right. Now, even a more difficult one to overcome, because I think we can all agree and we can all be on point as far as understanding, the place of the fear of failure. But imposter syndrome is even more intimate and personal on a different level, because imposter syndrome is us judging ourselves as being unworthy and not interesting. And unfortunately, right now, the social buying signs that we get from the world around us is that our imposter syndrome is probably justified. That we are, we certainly feel ageism creeping in into the world. The gray wave is a direct response to that movement. And that movement basically says, as you get older, you get less valuable. And in our age right now, we are, every day we're less valuable than we were yesterday because we are getting older. And so if we think that we still have value, well, then we're being an imposter. And that is insidious. And I really hate this. I really, really, I know you're not supposed to use the word hate, but I hate what imposter syndrome can do to us. And it's something that it undermines our joy. It undermines our sense of self. It undermines our confidence. And it stops us from not just being the best that we can be, but from being the blessing and by being the force that we can be to others. Because all this experience that you have over all these years, here's the exercise that I want to do. So I think we can all agree. I believe firmly in my heart that there's probably not one person here who doesn't suffer from imposter syndrome. I still do. Every time I record a video, I said to my mastermind this morning, I worked really hard on a video yesterday and I finished the video, and this was for a client. This is a sponsored video. It's a big deal for me. And I thought it was a piece of shit. Excuse my language. But I thought, oh, geez, I edited it. I put it to bed. I said, I'm going to put it in the client's hands and they're going to give me so much feedback that I'm going to re-record everything, but that's cool. I was okay with that. And then I watched it this morning and it's pretty good. It's pretty good, but that's imposter syndrome creeping into somebody who basically does these videos and this type of stuff for a living. So we all suffer from it. We all experience it every day. But now what I want to do, since I don't have to probably convince us all that imposter syndrome is a problem. I think we can all agree on that. I want you to, if you have it handy, I want you to open up the mind map that we did back in day 2 or day 3 of this boot camp. And I asked you to talk about what your superpower is, what your experiences are. And I asked you to put them all down. And it was so that we could, you thought at the time that I was asking you to write these things down in order to better determine what sort of marketplace we should be in and where our skills can be applied. That's not the real reason that I wanted you to write them down. I wanted you to write them down for this moment because I want you to look at that person objectively, like it's not you, but you're reading the resume of somebody else. And I want you to tell me honestly, what do you think of that person? Look at what you've done. Just pragmatically at that list of things that you put in place, that you're superstar in, that your superpowers are. Look at the list of successes, that you've made over the years. Think about the people who you've impacted over the years. Think about the hurdles that you've overcome and the challenges that you've overcome and the places that you've stepped in and you've made a difference. Think about that. And you tell me, if you were reading that person's resume, would you think that person is an imposter? there's not a hope in hell that you would. That person who is you has all of this experience, has all of this capacity for doing so much more, and has proven it in the past. There's no reason that we should let imposter syndrome step in our way. In fact, if we do let imposter syndrome stand in our way of moving ahead, if we let our insecurities stand in the way of moving ahead, we're not just doing ourselves a disservice, but we're doing our community, we're doing our family a disservice, because we still have the potential. If anything, we've got even more potential. I've said over and over again through this, one of the rallying cries through this entire boot camp is knowledge is our most valuable experience, is our most valuable asset. Our experience is our most valuable asset. It's something that can't be manufactured anywhere. You can't Google it. You can't get it anywhere else. You have to have lived it. You have to have done it. You have to have bled and laughed and cried and had the success and had the self-doubt and had the failures and had the successes to earn that experience. And that's who you are. And the person that with that experience is not an imposter. They are not an imposter. Even if we don't necessarily have all of the skills in the area that we're working into, we've proven the capacity to be able to develop those skills. And just because we're older now doesn't mean we can't keep learning and we can't keep developing the new skills. And when we apply those new skills with the experience that we've had in the past, that creates a really powerful equation. That creates a cocktail for success. So imposter syndrome, it frustrates the heck out of me. And I see it almost every single person who I coach and have a conversation with. Well, not almost everyone suffers it to some degree. And we all pay lip service to it. But I wonder how many of us actually sit down and try and take a look at ourselves with that perspective. And so that's my goal for you today, is to look at yourself with that honest eye and recognize that there's no way that you are an imposter, that you are the real deal, and what you have to offer is worth offering and should be offered, and you make the world a better place by offering what it is that you're working on, whatever your journey is that you're going through with the boot camp with us today. So those are the evil twins, the fear of failure and imposter syndrome. Before I jump into the Three Stooges, let's see what people have had to say. Bob, help me out here.
Yeah,
I haven't been looking at the chat. I hope people have.
Yeah, a lot of people are a lot to say, helping each other here and voicing what they feel. So, I mean, people were saying personal growth comes from what's not hard, or from what's hard. I'm sorry, what's not what's easy. And there's they shared some great books here, some information. People are already into the Gray Wave community here and sharing away. So it's
Pat and Lorna Shanks, we keep failing our way to success indeed.
Yeah. And Connie said, shush, I just talked myself into having value as a Gray Wave era person. She didn't want to hear that.
Well, that's the thing is, I love the fact that we that mind map, if you did the exercise, that mind map that we did back at the beginning when we talked about our superpowers, going back and looking at it afterwards is really an eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
It's for some of you it might not make a difference, but if it lands, it's going to land hard, and it's going to help you realize and recognize what we're talking about. And it should be easy for us. We've been parents, we've grown, we've buried our parents, we've been through grief, we've been through happiness and joy. Today's my anniversary in my second marriage. There's an awful lot there. So we shouldn't have to sit here and pump our tires in order to recognize our value and to overcome our insecurities. But we do. We all do. And so by having written that down, without the objective being to say how great I am when we talk about our superpowers, we were talking about it from a perspective of what we could be good at to build a business so we would ensure success. But now when we take a look at that and we look at it a little bit differently, we look at it as just a kind of a history and a snapshot of who we are, I do believe it is eye-opening. So. Yeah,
Marina shared with everyone that she said she's been working in her field for 30 plus years and she's very good at it. But she says, I'm self-taught. I don't have a degree from any university, so I always feel like I'm missing things. And, I run into that. Well, I'll use an example, my own wife who didn't go to university at all for a good reason. So she had to go to work because she had to support her mother. And even to this day, she's probably one of the best at her job that anyone that I know. And the people around her think the same thing. Yet she still every once in a while will say, well, I don't have a degree though. I'm like, let it go, So dance with your fears is something I learned a long time ago. And, I still suffer from imposter syndrome. We all do. But,
we were dealing with that today with you in our mastermind.
Yes, we were. Weren't we?
Yeah. And yeah, so I think we're all on the same page. So let's talk a little bit about the practical aspect then of the Three Stooges. When I think about the types of people who I've been attracting into the gray wave, and when I look at myself as well, I recognize that there's kind of three kind of classifications of how we work, of how we approach life. And I like the analogy of the Three Stooges. So there's Larry's, Curly's, and Moe's. And I'm going to ask you as we go through today to jump into the chat and tell us if, as I say, if you're a Larry, if you're a Curly, or if you're a Moe. Okay. And one is not better than the other, although you will probably think one's better than the other because you will think that unless you're, for the most part, you're probably going to think the other ones may be better than yours. But let's start with Larry's. Larry's are the permanent researchers. Larry's are the people who are fascinated by the opportunities and enjoy learning about them and enjoy imagining what they can do with them, but they never really get off the research bandwagon and start doing. So you always think that Larry's need every duck to be in a row before they can take the first step. And the fact that we can never get all of the ducks in a row because life is such a fast moving target means that they very seldom take that first step. So there's a lot of planning of what you're going to do in the future, but there's not a lot of execution in doing things, of getting anything done. So you're always in research mode. You're always in curiosity mode. And you think if you learn the next thing, if you take the next course and you just develop this skill, that you'll have what you need in order to move on to the next steps. Those are Larry's. Larry's wonderful, curious, really interesting to talk to. But they get in their own way, and they actually getting things done is difficult because they don't feel prepared.
Yeah, we have Larry's already popping up.
Yeah, I've seen them. I'm a Larry. There's a lot of Larry's out there. Curly's. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a Curly. Curly's do things. Curly's start things. They start project after project after project. Curly's may be ADHDs more than anybody else. That might be a hallmark. I just thought of that. I never really applied that before. But Curly's have the ability, a large capacity for work. They have boundless energy, and they start project after project. They start thing after thing. But Curly's tend to always end up in the same frickin' place. We always end up in the same place. We make the same mistake over and over again because we follow that path over and over again. I think a lot of women's relationship with men, I shouldn't say this because this is going to sound terribly sexist, but those friends of yours who always end up with the same wrong guy? They are Curly's because they make the same decisions over and over again. We do this a lot. And Curly's have the ability to start projects. They have the ability to do them. They start businesses, but they are always going to break in the same place because they do the same thing over and over again, because they race ahead without maybe having all of the information, or they don't take a step back and they don't fill in the gaps that they need. Maybe we don't do the hard stuff. Maybe there's a certain laziness attached. I don't know. Maybe that's being judgy, but there's a place that we tend to break. For me, it's always in the accounting. It's always in the bookkeeping and the detail side. I'm great at big picture stuff. I'm great at energy. I'm a really good communicator. But when it comes down to the little detail of making that invoice perfect before we actually presented it to you, we do bump our heads. And consequently, Curly's develop a ceiling, both for their expectations, because they know they get to the certain stage over and over again and they can't get past it. And we have this desire to break through, but we never really do. So Curly's have all of the potential, have all of the energy, have the courage to go ahead, but then we fail in the same place. And then there's Mo's. Very few Mo's out there. But the Mo's out there, they got it all together. Mo's out there do their research, and they seem to know when to stop. They seem to know when it's time to act, and they start to act. And they build their business, they build their venture, they do their thing, and they seem to know when to pivot. And they have the insight to pivot or to change or to modify things or to give something up and go in an entirely different direction. But they make good decisions every step of the way. And then they succeed. And they're the ones that we look at as examples. This person is successful because of this. And, you know, if I look at in the online marketing space, I look at an Amy Porterfield or I look at a Marie Forleo. They are Mo's for sure because they've made their decisions. They've built their business. They seem to have their act together. And I'm jealous of them. And we're all jealous of them. Larry's and Curly's, we don't like Mo's. We want to be a Mo, but we aren't Mo's yet. But we're striving to be a Mo. And we don't know what it is that Mo's do that makes them so successful. And we wish we did know. But I think if we take a step back and we look at what we really are as Larry's and Curly's, we know why we're not a Mo. We can break it down and we can figure it out. Larry's know that they spend too much time research. Indecision kills them. And Curly's know that not changing when we need to change, not accepting change as readily as we should, is what kills us. And Mo's just look down their nose at us. Now, I honestly don't believe that anybody in the world thinks they're a Mo. I don't think, because of the other things, because of fear of failure and because of imposter syndrome. Mo's are a fantasy. They're a unicorn. We've heard of them, but we've never actually met one. We might think we saw one, but what we really saw was just a figment of our imagination or a drug-induced vision. But so I don't believe that there are Mo's out there, but to themselves, but to the rest of us, I believe that we see and we want to be a Mo, and we should strive to be a Mo. So that's, there's been a lot of introspection today. And how does that all fit with what I'm, the message that I'm doing right now, which is talking to people about whether or not you want to get into the gray wave or the gray wave is a good fit? Well, dealing with each one of these things, I believe that the gray wave becomes a balm and a part of the solution. And the things that are standing in your way, perhaps of even joining the gray wave, are the things that the gray wave can help you overcome. Fear of failure, our sense of community, the community that we have in the gray wave, as far as imposter syndrome and as far as fear of failure, the community will support you, and you will have sympathetic ears, and you'll have examples of people who you see breaking out and taking steps in the right direction. And the forward momentum makes a big difference, is going to make a big difference. That's when I built the gray wave, when I envisioned what the gray wave was, I wanted community to be at the heart of the gray wave. And I recognized that I was, in spite of my fear of failure, in spite of my imposter syndrome, and in spite of my curliness, I was successful because of the community of people who I relied on, that helped, guided me along the way and encouraged me and helped me overcome my limitations. And I wanted that same group. I wanted that same opportunity for everybody else. Number one, that's what the gray wave gives us. As far as the practical nature of being a Curly or a Larry, or the desire to be a Mo, inside of the gray wave are the tools. First of all, all of the information that you could that Larry's could possibly want are there. But there's also an accountability side. Once you're inside of the gray wave, when you're learning, when you're putting your ideas forward, people are going to challenge you. They're going to say, "Why aren't you doing this? You've talked about it a lot. Why aren't you doing it?" You're going to, if you trust and you become a part of the community, they will help you get over those hurdles. And for Curly's, so much value, because everybody there has made the mistakes as well. And so many people are going to be able to model with you how they've overcome the same habits and the same mistakes and the same issues, that we really become a terrific resource for that. At the end of the day, the rest of the world looks at everybody inside of the gray wave, and they're going to think we're all Mo's. They're not going to know. They don't have to know that we're not all Mo's, but the world's going to think that we're Mo's, and that's a pretty good thing. That's where we should be. I think many of you might think I'm a Mo. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm a Mo, but many of you might think I am, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because I'm striving to it, and I aspire to it. So that's our topic today. How did I do? 35 minutes or so. Let's get into feedback. So did we have anybody that claimed to be a Mo?
No, I don't think anyone said they were a Mo. No, everyone. We had people who wanted to be a Mo, of course, and
I'm a Larry. I'm a Mo's. Mo's don't exist in the real world, says Marie. That's that might be true.
Annette says. I was going to say, Annette says, I think sometimes smart people never feel that they are ready and watch others not as smart just move on and take chances and be successful.
Yeah.
Interesting observation.
Yeah. There's lots of reasons. There's lots of reasons that we are, that we end up being kind of in these camps. And they're legitimate, but that doesn't mean that we have to accept them. That doesn't mean we have to accept them.
Howard says he's a shemp.
I didn't include all of them. That's true.
He says I fall out of the norm.
There we go.
So yeah, people in any kind of profile like this, personality, people will see different parts of themselves in each of these, types. Some people see themselves as a blend.
Good stuff. I'm just reading through the comments as well now. I was talking a lot, so you have to give me a moment. I'm so curly. I would love to be a Mo. Here we go. Yeah,
just a quick question to the side. Joe wants to know if the mind mapper files are available for yesterday and today. It wasn't in the guides. He said
they're really small little mind maps. I didn't decide to publish them as documents because I didn't have a recording against it and they were presented live, but we can make them available. We'll make sure that they get up in the resources. Yeah, that's the whole mind map today. It's more what I say than what I wrote down as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Lots of curlies.
Yeah. Scott Parker, who was one of our founding members also. There we go. Curly Larry. Yeah, I saw that. Scott had he said that the Gray Wave has many who fit the Larry, Mo, and Curly. Finding others to bounce your crazy ideas has been the best part, and I agree with that.
Yeah, Scott's one of our founding members.
He's
been with us for a long time. Yeah, good stuff. So, does anybody have any questions about the Gray Wave itself, about the community, and about the offering? We've got the doors open. The Gray Wave is now open for business. So, if you visit wearethegraywave.com, you can sign up. It is a good time to join. I always love to see people sign up as early as possible. The doors are open until May the 9th. We're not going to be offering any special bonuses or any discounts or anything like that as we move along. The pricing is up front and it's all described right there on the main page as we go through the content. Oh, tomorrow tomorrow's session is going to be a little bit of a Steve Love fest. I'm just going to talk about things that I wish I knew when I started my business. And there was some questions about the kind of the journey that I went on, going from television to building an online business. And I'm going to share that with you. And it wasn't all success. Well, there was a lot that wasn't success as I went through the process. And I think I learned a lot from the challenges that we faced. I know I learned a lot from the challenges that I faced. So I'm going to take you through the early days of building an online business and set that against what I wish I knew then, what would have made my first 5 years in the business a lot easier. But as it goes now, I wouldn't change it for anything, because what I learned about the kind of the calluses that I built and the scars that I built, that I learned from, have put me in good stead. And I know they've helped a lot of you as you built your businesses as well. So I'm going to be taking you through what I wish I knew. And then next week, we are in full sales mode. I just want to get people into the Gray Wave. I want to get people signed up who should be there. We're going to will be a limited amount of time that we're going to keep the boot camp open. So anybody that wants to consume any of the lessons that they hadn't done are going to need to do that in that week there. And I'm going to go through each of the days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'm just going to kind of go through in a little more detail some of the resources that we have and some of the features that are built into the Gray Wave. On Monday, we're going to talk about the online courses that we have in the resources inside. On Tuesday, we're going to talk about the special interest groups, and we're going to talk about the certification programs. And then on Wednesday, we're going to talk about the power of community, how important it is, just what the other members bring to the table, and how valuable our community is in of itself, which is really the thing I'm most proud of with how the Gray Wave has evolved. And then Thursday and Friday, I'm keeping open. They're to be announced. We're no guarantee we're going to be doing live streams those days. But if there's lots of questions, if there's still lots of people that are interested in getting more clarification, we will be available possibly on those 2 days. But I also want to point out that any of you that are on the fence, that are thinking about seriously joining the Grey Wave, but just aren't quite there yet, and you'd really like to have my feedback, I will give you honest feedback as to whether or not you should join. You can on the website, We Are the Grey Wave. There's book a call with Steve, and I will jump in and have a conversation with you and tell you whether I honestly think you should join the Grey Wave or not. And it's only for people who are seriously considering it. Yesterday we had our first 2 calls. One person I said, you should join, and she joined right away. And the other person I said, you're not quite ready yet. You've got a lot more questions to answer. And so, I'm not always going to tell you. This isn't just me closing sales. Although if it is right, I will tell you in no uncertain terms that I think you're going to be a fit. Because the bottom line is, if you're a good fit for the Grey Wave, not only do I want your money, but I want your input. I want you to be part of our community because I know all of the other value. You become part of the rising tide, making everything better inside of the Grey Wave when you're the right fit. And the more people we have with the right fit, just the better it is for all of us. So it's a continual investment in the equity, in the social capital that the Grey Wave is, that makes it more valuable as we go along. And that's one of the things, as I said, probably the thing I'm most proud of within the Grey Wave. So with that, are there any questions specifically, or can we?
Yeah, a couple of people. There was a question about, what is the Grey Wave? I guess someone did know it was actually a Facebook group. So it's a private group within Facebook.
Yeah, it's far more than a private group in Facebook. It's a membership site where we have if you visit the Grey Wave, We Are the Grey Wave, the sales page goes through all of the different features of it. It's a private Facebook group where we deliver live stream content and we engage with each other. We have conversations and we share each other's information, and we do accountability work. It is also a membership site where we have 18 full online courses, as well as several other bonus courses, as well as all of the different resources that we've recorded over the 3 years that we've been active. So it's full of tutorial content and how-tos, guides, and instructions. So that's the membership site, and it's pretty robust. It's grown a lot, and there's, I don't know how many. I was going to go through the other day. I was going to go through and add up how many hours of video are on the inside, but I dare say it has to be hundreds of hours of tutorial content on one aspect of online marketing and content marketing or another. So that's the Grey Wave.
Yeah. You've got one there.
How long will the Facebook recordings be available? As I missed some days and I want to catch up.
Yeah,
they're available until the 9th.
Yeah.
May 9th we'll be taking the group down. So the comments you'll still be able to see the comments. The group won't be active. You won't be able to post anymore. What we do with this Facebook group, the boot camp, is we will put it into mothballs until we launch the boot camp again. And then we'll be delivering all of the content again. You won't get the historical content, but you'll be part of the membership next time, and you can obviously opt out at any point. But when we do the boot camp again, we'll be doing it fresh with all fresh content again. All of the existing content that's part of the boot camp, all of the trainings, it doesn't get thrown away. When we roll up the boot camp, we take it and we turn it into a module inside of the Grey Wave, so you can still access all of the trainings and all of the tutorials and all of the live streams that we did as a part of the boot camp. So it's going to be available to everybody that signs up for the Grey Wave. But it's just the people that are free and taking it in as a boot camp, as a boot camp only member. It'll be removed from public access on May the 9th.
Had a question. Did you do the lead page from the Grey Wave, and did you use any program in specific?
Did I do the lead page?
Yeah. Did you create it? In other words.
Okay. So the website itself, the We Are the Grey Wave, was done in Elementor, and the shopping cart pages are done in Samcart. We do use lead pages quite a bit when we're doing Foundational Friday and Webinar Wednesday, but it isn't part of this particular funnel. Okay.
And Senemy wants to know, he registered for the Grey Wave, but he wanted to know if he could still do a call with you just to define his trajectory on the platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Looking.
Well, that's an Amish. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead and grab one. That's good.
Ami? Yeah.
Okay. Was that fun today? I like talking about this. I like talking
Yeah.
about this topic.
Like you said, it's a little navel gazing. We do, huh?
It's cathartic for me. Every time I do
It
it,
is.
I can do better. I want to do better. No, not that I can. I want to do better. I want to do better. I want to beat myself up a little bit less. I want to get closer to modem. I want to be modem. I'm seeking modem. Okay. Listen, folks, it's been a pleasure today. Thank you for your encouragement and just how civil this group is all the time and how encouraging it is. It's terrific. It's a balm for my ego, that's for sure. And I hope that you all feel the same kind of positive juju that we get from doing this.
Howard
so with that,
Howard wants an update on your dog. I don't know. Howard says he wants an update on the dog.
The dog yesterday had a few little issues. Not terrible. It's a puppy, but I was cleaning up more than I wanted to yesterday. It was not a good day for me to be cleaning up because I was up against it from getting the doing our live stream, then getting the shopping cart finished, and then a huge recording day for me putting together a video for an important client. So there's a Slack. We've got a Slack sponsorship on the YouTube channel, and so yesterday was D-Day, when I had to record the content that we've been preparing for a month, and I had to edit it and put it into them for approval. So that's where that was. And while I was in the middle of that, the puppy had a few issues. So Dorothy divided my attention, but she is lovely, and my wife is head over heels in love with her, which is really what's most important. Shannon needs a dog in her life all the time, and the last year without Farley has been kind of hard on Shannon. So she comes home and she has a puppy here, and she's very happy. And it's on our anniversary, so it's the least I could do, right?
Yes.
All right.
One more question.
Sure.
Dorothy wants to know, where do we sign up for a call?
If you go to the We Are the Gray Wave, if you scroll down just beneath the pricing structure, it says book a call with Steve. There's a link there. It says book a call with Steve.
Got it.
All right.
I think that's it.
Look forward to chatting with some of you today and tomorrow. Look forward to welcoming a few of you into the Gray Wave, and I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. Till then, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Have fun storming a castle.